Hi everyone, I'm Miranda and welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Friday, so that means that I'm joined by my mum Donna.
Hello.
And we're having our regular Friday tea read session today, which means in the first half of this video we bake something together and then we sit by our kitchen fireside, we enjoy what we've made and we share some lovely seasonal reads that we've been enjoying lately. So yesterday in the UK was Guy Fawkes night or Bonfire Night.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd do something appropriate to that today.
Exactly, because no celebrations this year, of course.
No.
Although I did hear fireworks.
Yes, I think some people are having private celebrations in their gardens. We've been hearing some fireworks, but of course all the big firework displays have been cancelled.
And the big bonfires.
Yes, because we're in lockdown again here in the UK. But it's been a bit of a stressful week all around for lots of people this week. So all the more reason to just lose ourselves for a little bit in books and baking.
Yes, that's
today.
Exactly right.
We're going to enjoy ourselves this
are.
afternoon. So I'm excited. So what we're making is a traditional Yorkshire cake that's traditionally eaten around Bonfire Night.
Yes.
And it's called Yorkshire Parkin. We've had it before and we really like it.
Delicious.
It's a bit like gingerbread.
It is.
But it's got oats in it.
So it has a bit of a crunch.
Yes, and it's not quite as sort of thick as gingerbread in a way. It's
not always. No, I think it depends what size tin they do it.
Yes, I guess so.
Yeah, for us it doesn't. Yeah.
It is very, very tasty. We're doing a recipe that I found online a few days ago, but I did also want to mention a recipe in this beautiful cookbook, which is called Oats in the North, Wheat from the South, The History of British Baking, Savoury and Sweet by Regular Iswin. I've interviewed Regular a couple of times and I really like her cookbook.
It's a lovely cookbook, this one.
It is. And she's got a lovely recipe for Yorkshire Parkin in here. And I think actually I spotted that Regular had shared the recipe on her Instagram account. So I'll link to that recipe, which is quite similar to the recipe that we're doing today. And I'll link to both of them in the description box down below, so you can check them both out. But in the book, there's also a really nice description about Yorkshire Parkin. And I guess they're not quite sure how it came to be linked to eating around Bonfire Night. But apparently, I think in the old days, in early November, that was the harvest of wheat or something.
Yes.
And of course we know oats in the north.
Yes, of course.
So oats was like the main crop around here.
Yes.
And apparently that was maybe partly why they also made Parkin at this time, which I thought was really interesting.
It is.
So, and for those of you who don't know, Bonfire Night is a sort of celebratory night where it celebrated the gunpowder plot, as it was called, was thwarted. That was a plot headed by Guy Fawkes to overthrow King James I, wasn't it?
Yes,
I think in 1605.
Yes.
So that's where that comes from.
Yeah. Lovely.
So I'm excited. It isn't quite Bonfire Night, but it's only the day after. So I think this will be wonderful. So we're going to make some Yorkshire Parkin. So we've got lots of the ingredients ready already. First of all, we've already melted together the butter and the golden syrup brown sugar and black treacle.
That's like molasses in the States.
Yes.
A little goes a long way, I always think, with treacle.
Yes, it does. And already sifted the dry ingredients in this bowl. So that was is it self-raising? Yeah, it was self-raising flour, the oats, and it was medium oats.
Now, what you can do if you can't find medium oatmeal, which is maybe something that's more up here, you can always, if you use jumbo oats, just blitz them in your food processor, or just use ordinary fine oatmeal. I don't think it'd make that much.
No, it might just alter the texture a little bit, but it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And the spices are already in here as well. So I've just made a little well in the dry ingredients, and then I'm going to pour.
Yum. It smells
the sticky
heavenly.
ingredients in, the wet in.
Whenever I measure, and I know you do the same thing, if you ever measure black treacle, I always sort of first brush the bowl or whatever you're measuring it into with a bit of oil, so you can pour it out again easily, because
it's so sticky. I once made this massive recipe for gingerbread, and it was a really dark gingerbread, so it took loads of black treacle in the recipe, and it made 2 whole sort of loaves of it.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to go everywhere. The kitchen turned into this sticky nightmare, which was a bit of a nightmare. Oh yeah, I'll put the oats into.
Yeah, you had it sort of almost on the ceiling, if I remember correctly. Somehow it got everywhere. It was in your hair.
Yeah, it did. It really was a nightmare. I thought, I'm never making this again. And then I didn't even like it all that much. Fortunately, you liked it.
Yeah, I think it was
but
too much.
I don't always really like very dark gingerbread.
No.
However, I do like this. So, but this it has the golden syrup too.
I think that recipe had blackstrap molasses as well in it.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
it did.
yes.
It was such a dark gingerbread.
It was an American one, and yes, it probably would have been lovely if you hadn't have had everything happen that did. It sort of put you off it a bit, I think, once you finally cleaned up
it just
there.
seems like such a devil to cook. So I'm just sort of folding in the dry ingredients.
Good.
Bringing it together. You have a lot more memories of Bonfire Night than I do, because I didn't grow up in the UK. So when I first came, I didn't really get Bonfire Night.
No, no, I really have fond memories, because we always had a private party in the back garden, and my dad would buy all these fireworks, like Catherine wheels and fountains, and set them all off. I mean, probably health and safety would have a fit, and we'd always have baked potatoes. That was traditional.
Yes.
Usually gingerbread.
Yeah.
And my dad would very kindly, we had an old cine camera, and what he had was films of things like Laurel and Hardy, and I'd get to invite all my friends to come over too, and we'd all sit and watch these silly old films, afterwards, and laugh, and it was just a very happy memory.
It's a real it is a real sort of children's party type event in the UK. And they love it. You can imagine with fireworks is traditional to have.
Yeah.
Big bonfires.
Yes.
And
and of course it was penny for a guy, where the kids would make a guy and push it around.
Yes, there's normally a sort of effigy of Guy Fawkes is made, and that's sort of
gruesome, actually, isn't it?
It's a bit gruesome because it's burnt on the bonfire. But yes. Would you mind doing this?
No, I will. I'll do ready for you.
This is coming together well. But yes, I mean, at first when I came to the UK, I wasn't too sure about Bonfire Night, because I thought, it's freezing cold in November. Why do you want to go out and watch the fireworks? It's freezing cold. But actually now I do love it.
Yeah.
And as always, I like any occasion that is an excuse for good food and making particular dishes.
We often do either a sausage casserole or maybe a chili, the same sort of...
Yes, and baked potatoes are really quite traditional
I think
as
so.
well.
I don't think you can beat a lovely warm baked potato.
No, and I like having hot chocolate.
Oh yes.
Things like that as well.
Certain scents, aren't there, to this time of year?
Yes.
I'm adding a tablespoon of milk in there.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, whipping it all up.
So I'm just going to mix these together.
Yeah.
This is a handy recipe too, I have to say, in that you can do it all with a spoon, bowl and a spoon, which is always nice and easy, isn't it? And then we add a bit of chopped stem ginger.
I think about probably a teaspoon, because you've got 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, plus you've also got some mixed spice in there. So it's not,
not a huge amount, but the recipe doesn't put the chopped ginger in.
No, it doesn't.
But we
like
it. So yes, we like to put that in.
But no, I think it's time of year to have something like the lovely ginger, the smoke of the fire.
Yes, there's all those scents of November. And we woke up this morning, it was really quite foggy this morning.
Yes, it was a very misty, moisty morning.
Yes, it really was. And I think it's just a perfect day to make gingerbread or Yorkshire Parkin.
Yes.
And sort of get into the spirit of approaching winter.
You've swapped to your sort of November perfumes. We often choose perfumes on time of year and have favourites, don't we, for spring, summer, fall, that sort of thing.
Yes, exactly. But I'm just going to keep stirring now, and this will soon be done. So I'm just going to keep stirring away for a moment. Okay, so I've been stirring away and it's pretty well mixed now, isn't it?
It looks really good to me.
Looks great. Yes, and it does smell really good.
It does.
But yes, I don't know if other people, if you sort of have more seasonal perfumes too. We definitely have ones that we bring out more for the autumn and winter, and then different ones for the spring and summer. And I like a lot more oriental and spicy perfumes.
Yes, you do.
In the winter, and then a lot more floral and light and sort of grassy in the spring and summer.
Yes, well, I think it's a lovely way to sort of have a bit of luxury at home. You know, it's something you can spritz on in the morning and enjoy throughout the day then, isn't it?
It's true.
I like sort of almost leathery ones.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I really do this time of year.
Yeah. So we've already got this tin ready. It's pre-lined and greased, ready to go. Just be careful when you're lining. We sort of really do cut out the bits to go around the sides.
Yeah, because this is one that we could stick even in a non-stick tin, I suspect.
Yes. I'm just going to
that looks good.
Pour it in. Does look good.
Scent of ginger.
I love ginger.
Yeah.
And this is lovely and trinkly.
Somebody mentioned how we don't have a spatula, and they're so right. I think I fell behind the
oven, and it did.
Yes,
we could never retrieve it again.
Yeah, and I really must get another one. But anyway, we've got one of these that might help scrape out, because it's very sticky, isn't it?
It is sticky.
Get every last bit.
And I think it's quite unusual in that there is sort of the slightly chewy texture. How would you describe it?
Crunchy, chewy.
A little bit crunchy, a little bit chewy, which not everyone might like, but we actually love it.
Yes. And
I have a local pub that makes Yorkshire Parkin, and that was how we first started eating it, wasn't it?
Yes, we're very lucky, because I think they do a very authentic recipe too.
Yes, they do, and we really loved it. So then we thought, well, let's learn how to make it ourselves.
Yes.
Now we're in Yorkshire.
We have to do the local things.
And there are quite a few Yorkshire bakes. I'm looking forward to trying more of them out.
Yes, there are. I mean, certainly they were, and even now when you're invited to people's places, obviously before lockdown, but people really do home cooking still.
Yes, they do. That was something we really noticed when we moved to the countryside. Because in London, I was starting to feel a bit like, am I the only person who ever cooks or bakes anything? Because none of my friends really did.
Yeah.
But now we've moved to the countryside, we realise, lots of people still cook and bake. They're just in the countryside.
So that's ready.
Yes, I've smoothed it out. Looks delicious, if I say so myself.
Yes, indeed.
We're going to pop it in the oven. Do watch this. I think the recipe said an hour and a half.
It did.
But it only took us an hour for this to be baked because
yes.
we're having a Blue Peter moment here.
Yes.
We've already made one.
Yes.
Because it's best to keep this, I think, even for 2 weeks, they say.
Oh, really? Well, this recipe said 1 day to 1 week, but I bet you even 2 weeks.
I've heard 2 weeks.
Gets
too.
stickier and
yes,
damper.
you're meant to sort of keep it and save it, and it sort of gets better.
Yeah.
After a few days, but even maybe a week or two. So we made one earlier that we're going to show you and that we're going to enjoy this afternoon. But let me just pop this in the oven. Okay, I'm back. I popped the one we made today in the oven. I've set the timer. And now I'll show you what we made earlier.
Yes.
So, apparently you're just meant to wrap it in greaseproof paper. We also double wrapped.
Yes.
Foil, didn't we?
Yes, well I think probably if you had a square tin, if you wrapped it in the greaseproof paper and put it in a
square tin.
Yeah.
We don't have a square tin.
No, we only have round ones.
Yes, we need one of those.
To get one of those.
But here it is, the finished result. Hopefully you can see that. It smells really good.
It smells heavenly.
I know we always say it smells good, but honestly it does.
Yeah. No lie.
So, no, this looks delicious. So, while that's cooking, we're going to set the fire
Lovely.
into this. Get ready to share our Bonfire Night inspired reads as well. So we'll see you in a bit.
See you later.
And we're back again, ready to try our Yorkshire Parkin. I'm really excited about this.
Me too.
Let's give it a go.
Let's see. Delicious. Well done.
That's really nice.
Dampy.
Yes, it is. It's got that gingerbready, sticky top to it too. That dampness, but actually, I love the flavour, and I like the oaty porridgey texture
I
to
do
it too.
It's just
very northern, obviously. But I love it. My teeth.
Goes with our Yorkshire tea very well. Our Yorkshire,
our Yorkshire Parkin and our Yorkshire tea. You're right. Well, the fire's going. We're feeling lovely and cosy, and we've chosen some Bonfire Night inspired reads from old favourites. Well, actually, I think they're pretty much all old favourites. One is a bit more recent, but do you want to go first?
Of course. So I've chosen a little passage from Hare and Guy Fawkes by Alison Atlee, and with these beautiful pictures by Margaret Tempest. I love these books, Little Grey Rabbit books. I read them to Miranda when she was little. I had them in my own childhood. So
they're adorable.
They really are. How they all laughed to see the fox run. Speckledy Hen came from the doorway to join the fun. Grey Rabbit fetched a plate of parkin, cut into small pieces, and Squirrel held out the tin of bonfire toffee. They ate the good things by the light of the burning fire, and again they danced around it. Down in the village, the children sang their own song. Remember, remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. I see no reason why gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. At last the fire burned low, and Hare raked from the embers the 3 hot-baked potatoes. They divided them for supper. It was bedtime, and they said goodnight to the bonfire and went into the little house and shut the door. The Speckledy Hen slept in the kitchen, and little Fuzzy Peg was wrapped up in a rug on the floor. Mr. Hedgehog and Mouldy Warp walked home without him, singing as they went to scare all hidden creatures.
That's lovely, and I love that Parkin's
beautiful.
actually mentioned in that one. You'll have to try making the toffee.
Yes, I shall. Bonfire toffee. That's
Sounds
right.
good to me.
That's right. And then I also chose, because I love Alison Atlee's Diaries. These ones were hers between 1932 and 1971. And there's a lovely little description of a bonfire night that she commemorates in her diary. It was actually quite a bit before she wrote.
Yes, maybe it
Hare.
inspired.
I think maybe it might have. She might have looked back in her diaries to find this one.
Yeah.
So it's 5th of November 1932. A great bonfire in the grounds opposite, golden sparks, long flames roaring up against the beech trees with a sudden flash of gold, which seemed to throw the shadows of the trees on the fog which fills the air. Blue lights and fountains fall from the sky, sudden flickers and bangs, shouts of children and hisses of fire. In a garden I saw a little table, a father letting off fireworks in the dark, the children excitedly hopping around, all silhouetted against the fog by the green and red lights from Roman candles. Little Bimbo sitting in her chair, listening to Jack Payne's band, her foot beating time, her face smiling, absurd infant. The book, chapter 20 on the typewriter, going quite gaily just now, full of excitement, feeling that lovely time of college again. I am feeling thrilled over my writing and over the prospect of seeing John next week. John was her son. How I loved meteorology and Mr. Simpson. He was so inspiring and enthusiastic. I still feel that fire burning within me, the fire of life. Always remember, there's a new day. Jack Payne's band.
Oh, that's lovely.
Isn't
What
that
a lovely
lovely?
entry.
Love
Yes, very appropriate.
And I've
for
got one
today.
more if I may.
Yes, of
this week.
course.
It's, you know what a fan I am
Of Miss
Miss
Reed,
I
yes, I
know.
think she has to be-
Lifelong addiction really for me,
Yeah.
I think. You know, I started in my teens.
She's one of your very, very favourite writers.
She is, and I love
I love
this.
her too.
I love this confirmation of different extracts from her book.
It's
And
called The World of Thrush Green.
That's right. And I'm just going to read the bit here, which is from the Guy Fawkes night celebrations in Thrush Green. The celebration of Guy Fawkes' attempt to blow up the Houses of Parliament in 1605 was always a communal affair at Thrush Green. The school children helped to build the bonfire and to supply the guy. Fireworks were given by various people who still enjoyed such things, and Harold Shoesmith and his friend Frank Hurst were amongst the most generous donors. Percy Hodge always gave a sack of large potatoes, which the Boy Scouts baked in the ashes of the bonfire for everybody. And Mr. Jones of the Two Pheasants brought out glasses of beer and mugs of cocoa for the assembled throng. A light breeze sprang up around about 5 o'clock on Guy Fawkes' Day, and the children rejoiced. Now the bonfire should blaze merrily, and the guy catch fire without recourse to unseemly proddings with paraffin-soaked rags and such demeaning aids to combustion. It sat upon its funeral pyre looking splendidly remote. Harold Shoesmith's topee had tilted a little on its way to the summit and gave the guy a slightly rakish appearance, but all agreed that it was one of the best efforts of Thrush Green School. At 6:30 sharp, the Scoutmaster thrust a flaming torch into the base of the pyre, and within minutes, yellow and orange flames leapt skyward. Cheers went up from the spectators, and the boxes of fireworks began to be sorted out by those in charge, ready for display. A few minutes later, the first rocket of the evening whooshed upwards and sent down a cascade of pink and violet stars. Ah, sighed the crowd in great contentment. Where's the next? Shouted one wag. And as if in answer, the second streaked away towards a black velvet sky. And that's from At Home with Thrush Green.
Oh, that's lovely. I love all of your extracts.
Thank you. They're all very special, and so many of the things we were talking about, baked potatoes, the parkin, the hot chocolate, all these lovely things, and the celebration together communally.
Yes,
It's really
exactly.
nice, isn't it?
It's lovely to read about those communal celebrations.
Well, yes,
at
even
least
if
this
can't have
year.
it this year.
Yes.
Mm.
So one of my choices is from the Persephone book, One Woman's Year by Stella Martin Curry, which is a lovely book to read through the year because it goes month by month. And it's a little collection of her own writing and observations throughout the year, as well as poetry and extracts from books. But what I really like is that every month she chooses one most liked job of the year and then one most disliked job of the month, sorry, not the year. And the most liked job of the month for November is a Guy Fawkes party.
Aww.
So she says, if the children attending your firework party are very small and their parents must go home early with them, it is not possible to have much in the way of supper. The best idea is to decorate your table with strands of ivy. It is lovely and shining at this time of year, and put in the middle a big bowl of rosy apples. Let them be as shiny and eye-catching as possible. Sausage rolls, gingerbread men, conspirator biscuits and toffee are good things to have to eat, and perhaps ginger beer or hot orange to drink. If the children are older and everybody can stay later, then you can have more to eat. But stick to traditional foods that is not quite like other parties. Stuffed baked potatoes are good. That is baked and split and filled with cheese and celery. Or do a vol au vent mixture of chopped chicken or meat in a good white sauce. Brandy snaps filled with cream, chestnut tart, a flan filled with chestnut puree and decorated, gingerbread men, and of course apples, and a lot of homemade toffee. If you are having Old English punch for the grown-ups, and though expensive, this is worth it, you can make an imitation punch bowl for the children by heating their orange or lemon drink and floating cherries and slice of orange on top. And then she gives a little recipe for Old English punch, as well as she recommends lamb's wool is another good warming drink, which has ale and grated nutmeg and cinnamon. And I thought, we have to try lamb's wool drink, don't we? With all the sheep outside our front door. But I just loved this description. I think that sounds like an amazing party. I'd like to be invited to that.
We should have had some ivy here.
Yes, I know. We're letting the side down a bit, and our parking seems very modest compared to this. It would take you forever to prepare all the balls.
Yes.
But what a lot of fun it would be.
Yes.
And then I also just had a little extract to share from this beautiful book by Malcolm Saville, which I got for my birthday in October. And it's called Jane's Country Year. And a young girl, Jane, has been sent to a farm for a year to convalesce. And there's a lovely description of a bonfire and a party again in this book. So let me read this extract to you. So, this was inside the book. Actually, it's a little Valentine's card.
So adorable.
Why not face the music and admit you were my Valentine? I love that. I love when you get little funny things in old books.
It's like an extra present.
Yes. Mr. Herrick arrived with an oil lantern and some tapers, and the fun began. Every child had brought some fireworks, and the smaller ones were all mixed up together in a big clothes basket, while the more important ones were sorted out and let off separately. The rockets were stood in upside-down flower pots, and the rector went down the row, lighting each as fast as he could, so that one after another spluttered and whizzed up into the sky. Then the Catherine wheels were pinned to a board and made a brave show, and next the Roman candles threw up their coloured balls of fire. Jane had never been to a party like this before, and when the great bonfire was lit in 4 places and began to crackle and roar, they all joined hands and danced around it. Higher and higher the flames sprang, lovely wavering fire flowers of bright orange and red. The sparks were flung as high as the roof before the heart of the fire glowed, so that it hurt their eyes to look at it, and it was so hot that they all broke the ring and scattered. Jane blundered back into a grown-up whose laugh seemed familiar and turned round to find her uncle and aunt. Soon after this, they all crowded into the big hall, and Mrs. Herrick had a cup of soup ready for everyone before they all went home in the moonlight.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
It's lovely. It's such a joyous description of the celebration. I just loved that.
It really is.
But yes, I really enjoyed this.
Yes, I'm sorry, did you have that when you were a child, actually? Did you? You didn't have?
No, I didn't.
Guy Fawkes Day, because we were in France or in the States.
Yes, and it would have seemed a bit odd, I think, to
do you remember
celebrate
the fireworks
it
in Switzerland that we used to go to a lot? And they were always in the
Yes,
summer.
they were
the
in the
Swiss
summer,
National
beginning
Day,
of-
weren't they?
Yes, exactly,
August, I
at the
guess.
beginning of August. And that was lovely. We'd go and watch them by the lake a lot, wouldn't we?
And we'd also, they'd always give you a mug for your soup, because you'd have
Yes,
your soup, then you get
yeah.
to take the mug home.
Yes.
Lovely.
So I had that at least. But yes, sometime, hopefully next year, we might be able to do a proper bonfire party.
I'd love to go to Firle down in Sussex.
Lewis.
Yes.
Lewis does the most amazing bonfire night, and they parade all through
I'd
the
love to
street.
see that.
I want to see that one year. I really want
It's
to
on my
go to
bucket
Lewis.
list.
Yes, yeah, yes. We have to plan that sometime.
Yes.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this tea reads, and I hope you have a good weekend ahead of you. Do give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and remember you can subscribe to my channel by clicking my face that pops up on the screen. But thanks so much for watching. Happy Friday.
Thank you.
And we'll be back again soon.
Stay safe.
Bye.